2022 was the year of not one, not two, but 3 prime ministers. Here's how it happened.
It is clearly now the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party that there should be a new leader of that party and therefore a new Prime Minister. And I've agreed with Sir Graham Brady, the chairman of our backbench MPs, that the process of choosing that new leader should begin now.
I have just accepted Her Majesty the Queen's kind invitation to form a new government. I'm sticking around because I was elected to deliver for this country, and that is what I am determined to do.
And will you lead the Conservatives into the next general election?
I will lead the Conservatives into the next general election.
Definitely.
Well, look, yeah. I look forward to spending more time in my constituency and continuing to serve South West Norfolk from the backbenches.
I want to pay tribute to my predecessor, Liz Truss. She was not wrong to want to improve growth in this country. It is a noble aim. And I admired her restlessness to create change. But some mistakes were made.
My understanding of what's happened in terms of the instability, which Britain is not known for, partly because of our electoral system, and partly there's this British exceptionalism, which is Britain is stable, it's this Edmund Burke kind of continuity and all the rest of it underpinning British values compared to those populist, crazy Europeans. And actually, you can see the chaos in Britain in the last few years exceeds that of obviously the vast majority of other European countries. And I do think it goes back to living standards. I think you got David Cameron, who was, because we've had 30% of all our post-war prime ministers in the last 6 years. It's kind of remarkable. David Cameron blown up by Brexit, austerity and living standards declining played a role in that because in terms of getting it to 52%, a lot of people whose lives are becoming harder, they voted against the status quo. Theresa May, her premiership blown up in the 2017 election because, again, people stagnating living standards and they thought Labour had a better answer to that. You can see that with Boris Johnson, because even though Partygate played a role, the Tory polling was falling as well, which exacerbated the crisis because of the cost of living crisis. Liz Truss goes without saying. And Rishi Sunak's premiership will also be destroyed by the same thing. Rather than will that turmoil leave a legacy, I think the point is to understand the other way around, which is you have an economic model which has stopped providing rising living standards. And it can't even do it through cheap credit, which is what it was doing before. It just people felt like they were better off than they actually were because of they were in debt. But now that's not covering up the fall in living standards. People are just getting noticeably very poorer in a quite a dramatic way. It's predicted now they'll be poorer than they were in 2006. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's a huge, that's hard. So, how long is that now? That's 16 years or whatever. I mean, it's getting on for half your life, Michael. I think we've got to understand this turmoil as arising from a broken economic model. I do think the issue, though, for the Conservatives is people have made their minds up about them. They made a mistake, the Tories, in getting rid of Boris Johnson, I would say. I think if they hadn't got rid of Boris Johnson, they wouldn't have ended up with Liz Truss. And Liz Truss has destroyed the Tory party image for lots of people who voted for them because they've crashed the economy and made people's mortgage payments go up. And that's a lot of Tory voters. The problem is they've sullied their reputation amongst some of the people who voted for them in 2019. And I think it will be easy to go, when Labour in government, to go, the bad old days of the Tories when this, that and this happened. It was a period of terrible turmoil and all the rest of it, in a way the Tories did to Labour in the 1970s. So I think the lasting legacy of this will be the Tories have toxified themselves amongst such a large portion of the population. It may take them a very, very long time to recover. They can't ever write them off because the Tories have a habit of clawing back when they seem like they're finally over.